Next.js website.
Sure.
And
yeah.
we can go to documentation and then getting started. And it
Yeah.
says that we can write like this, that yarn
Yes.
create next app. So we
Sure.
are gonna try that together. So open terminal opened in another window. We will name it like fresh food like this, and then we will click enter. An unexpected error occurred. Oh, sorry. I actually have to name it exactly like the like this, and then I have to give it a name. So I made a mistake.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Yeah. So fresh food like this. Now it's working.
Yes.
So we have to wait a bit.
And it does take longer than next to load.
Yeah. Okay. So by that moment, let's run this project and let's see how it looks. Okay. This looks really amazing. The colors are really vibrant and it catches the eyes.
Yeah.
Beautiful design. You know, some people are earning a lot of money from these designs.
Yeah, I downloaded free. These were free HTML downloads.
Yeah.
So they are free. So I use it for practicing.
Yeah, no problem. But I'm sure that the designer or the developer who built it also sells designs in different platforms.
Yeah, I think some of those templates were WordPress as well, and which they sell. So
Yeah. So some people are really creative and has a lot of ideas how to make money.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm not one of them.
Why not?
Okay, so it looks like that our project got installed. So we will go to fresh food and then we're going to open it using our Visual Studio Code. And we will decorate our window properly so that we can see everything nicely, easily. So that's our canvas, as you can see. So
If
we
you
will
zoom in a bit.
Yeah, we will zoom this a bit, and then
Yeah.
we are gonna say yarn dev same as Next.js.
Yeah.
So we will open localhost 3000. Yeah, so our project got installed properly. Now let me introduce this file or folder structure with you to you about Next.js. So you remember that in Next we had something called next.config.js.
Yes.
And we have the same thing here. Yeah, we have the same kind of thing here. but this time it's named next.config.js.
Right.
So we will come back to this if we need to do something which requires us to configure this file, then we'll come back
Okay.
to this. For now, we just leave it. So you just know that it's there, and you might need to come here to configure things same as you do in Next.js,
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so then this public folder is the public folder of your project. So anything you keep here, they will be available after this.
Right.
Okay, so we also have a similar folder in Next projects, which is called static.
Yes.
They actually serve the same purpose. So yeah, it's easy. And then pages are actually same as Next.js. So we also have there a pages directory. So any file that we will create here will become a route in our project. So index is the default route. So that's why we see everything that's written in index in the default route of our project.
Sure.
So the way they have been configured, we will discuss about it. For the moment, let's delete everything that we have inside it. So we will get rid of this div and we will create a div where we will write test on nothing else. And then we have styles, image, head. We will get rid of everything here because we want to keep it simple
Yes.
so that we understand properly. And this is the CSS file that was imported in index.js file. So we will get rid of that as well because we want to use Tailwind CSS here.
Yes.
So now we have a API endpoint as well. We haven't discussed about the API things in Next.js. So we will not discuss about this in Next.js at the moment because it will
Yes.
become very much complicated and we don't want to make
No.
it like that. Okay, so now we have two files in the pages directory. One is app.js and another is index.js.
Yes.
So app.js is a file which you don't want to touch basically. So it's
No.
actually configuring your pages directory. So you have the global, this is the file where you want to, you want to organize your default things. So which you want to be available or make available for all the routes, all the
Yes.
components, those kind of things you would like to bring here. So what this code does is that it says that this is basically a kind of layout and any pages that you make will come in this area. So if you make a index.js file or a about.js file or a contact.js file, that content will be rendered in this place. This is what it means
Yeah.
with this code. So we will actually discuss about this code in more details. For the moment, let's get rid of this CSS file, and we have also got rid of the CSS files from the styles directory as well. So now our project is clean, and if we come here, we can see that we have only this test written.
Yes.
So now let's discuss about this syntax. So in Next, you have to export a function. You have to export a function from any file, any component or any pages or any layouts, whatever you want to make. You have to
Sure.
export a function and then return JSX from there. So this is basically JSX. And
Yeah.
fortunately, JSX and HTML are very similar. So you will not have much difficulty understanding JSX because whatever you know about HTML, they will also apply in JSX. But
Yeah.
there are a few areas where you have to be a little bit careful. For example, let me show you. So this is a one line of code. That's why we don't have to give any parenthesis here. It's actually rendering properly. The test word is coming here properly. And we haven't written it like this. We haven't
No.
written it like this, but still it's working because it is one line of code. But if you go multi-line, so for example, you create a p tag here like this, and then you write test. Now you are in multi-line system, right? In that case,
Yes.
you have to put a parenthesis like this. So the opening element should have a parenthesis, the start of the parenthesis, and the ending element should have the end of the parenthesis like this.
Is,
So if
is
I
that similar to double forward arrow and backward arrow?
no, it's not like that.
Okay.
It's actually returning all of this as one line. Because of this
Okay.
parenthesis, it's actually treating all of this as the returned value of this function,
Okay.
So this bracket means that everything that I write in between is one return value. So this
Okay.
function is returning this area, and as this is multi-line, that's why I have given this parenthesis here.
Okay.
If it was only one line, like true, the way we normally write function, or a
Yeah.
string with test, then we didn't need this. But now as we are going multi-line, that's why we are using this parenthesis. Do you understand?
Okay.
So
Yes.
when you export this function, then there are some common conventions that you want to maintain. For example, that your function name should start with a capital letter like
Yeah.
this. So this home
Okay.
has a capital letter, and
So
normally you
if it was
yeah
about page, capital A,
yeah
about, yeah.
exactly. So let us make like about.js, okay, and then as we know, we just have to export a function from here which name will be about with a capital A, and then we will return JSX from here. So a div, like a div, and then about.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So this is very simple. If you can memorize this syntax, then you are already familiar with Next and React. So
Yeah.
React and Next both in general follow this convention that you have to export a function which name should start with a capital letter, and normally the common convention is that the file name and this function name, they both should be same.
Okay.
So this is a common convention that all the developers maintain. So I am gonna maintain the same. Our file name is about. That's why I have written this function name also about.
Yes.
Okay. So as we have created this about file now, so if we go to about, then we'll see this route, and it's saying that default export is not React component in page/about. So I have
Yeah.
actually make uh, this default. So I exported it, but I didn't export it as default function.
Right.
So yeah, that's the reason. Now, as you can
Yes.
see, we have about here. Okay.
Yes.
So about, and then if you go back to the default route, then the index page will render here. So this is
Yes.
the common convention how you would like to, or you would want to decorate your pages or
Pages.
your HTML elements. Now let me show you a few things which you should be aware of when you are writing HTML in a JSX file. So we will go back to our index page, which has multi-line content, and you cannot write class because class is a reserved keyword by JavaScript, and JSX is basically JavaScript. So that's why you cannot write class. So what you
Right.
have to do is you have to write class name.
Last name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that will solve your problem. But all the other properties are okay. You can write ID, and you can write what I can write style. So these
Yeah.
things you can do, no problem with that, because they are not reserved word by JavaScript. Only in case of class, you have to name it like this.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's another thing, if any attribute is two word, it's not one word, it's two word, then you have to write it like camel case. So how one example of that could be which one?
I'm not sure.
Let me find one. Two word attributes. Okay. So one of the example should be like this area label, So we
Okay.
normally write it like this in normal HTML file, but here we will write it like this.
Okay.
Okay, because this is the common convention in JavaScript that we normally use our multi words in camel case format.
Sure.
So this is one thing that you have to remember. Class is another thing that you have to remember. And when you want to register an event in Next, you write like this, right? In
Yeah.
Next. But here you will write like this on click.
Click. Okay.
Yeah. And this curly braces are the place where you want to write your dynamic things or your JavaScript code. So in Next, you normally do like this double curly braces, which is called mustache synthesis.
Yeah.
In React, you do it like this. So
Okay.
one pair of curly braces, not two pair
Yeah.
of curly braces,
Yeah.
like that.
Okay.
Okay, so now you can actually write here like on click is a function name, and that will be treated as JavaScript. Okay,
Yeah.
and here you can write like name, which is a variable. Right now, I don't have any variable like that, so I have to declare a variable like uh, Raj Patel. Okay, and now
Yeah.
name will be dynamically rendered here. So if I remove the text from here and go back to our page, if we render it, the window has crashed for some reason. Okay, something happened bad with my computer. Let's rerun this project. So we'll do like and save, and we go back to our project. Localhost 3000. We did one thing which is wrong, so I think that could be one of the reason why it crashed. That is, we have a function named one on click, but that function doesn't exist anywhere. So we have to write that function. So on click should be a function. At the moment, it doesn't do anything, but it is a function. So
Yeah.
now it's not undefined. This on click is not undefined. It exists in our code.
Yes.
So that's one thing. Now, why it's not coming? That's a big question. Uh, Let me rerun the dev server one more time. Something is happening which seems a little bit strange. Something happened to my computer.
Is about page working.
No, I mean the domain is not coming at all. Let me go to the dev tools and see if I can find something related to this problem. I think it hanged. So let me get rid of this browser window and open another one. My
Yeah.
browser doesn't go anywhere.
You see, I had the same problem with Chrome this morning.
Why? What actually happened with it? That's not normal.
And it's local, so it shouldn't affect anything else, should it?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, now it came. I had to totally shut off. I had actually Chrome opened in another window. I had to
Okay.
get rid of that one as well. After that, it worked. Okay. So as we can see that your name is now dynamically getting printed here. So those are the basic syntax of
Yes.
React. So you can declare a event like this, and you can use this curly braces, one pair of curly braces to
Yes.
render something dynamic. But this is not actually reactive. So there's something called reactivity, which you should be aware of. In Next, what you do is that you have a data property like this, right? You have a data property like this, which
Yes.
returns something, return an object, and if you write like this, and this
Yes.
name becomes reactive immediately. So in Next.js, everything you write in this object, every property that you declare in this object are reactive by default. So that's something very useful, and sometimes is not performance uh, performance optimized for Next.js, but in React.js you have fine control over your reactive things.
Yeah.
So this variable is not reactive. So if using something, for example, maybe we can introduce a button here, or not button. Let's introduce the input field. Okay. And in this input, what we want to do is that we want to display as value that name property. Okay.
Okay.
And on input, so when we are inputting something, at that time, what we want to do is that we want to run a function like update name.
Okay.
Okay. So we just get rid of this click event from here because we don't need it anymore. So we will create this update name function now. So we will rename our onClick function to update name.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in this update name function, as we have access to event object, we will say that name is equal to e.target.value. But this is not going to work. So if I come here, as you can see that name now contains Raj Patel. So Raj Patel is displayed in both places, in the p
Yes.
tag, in this p tag, and also the value of input, also
Yes.
as the value of input. But if I update it, for example, if I delete this, I cannot delete it at all because I am bound to this value right now.
Yes.
And this on input doesn't do anything. So I cannot update it, I cannot write anything, nothing. I am totally stuck with it. And instead of on input, you can also name it on change, and that will actually do the same thing. It's not gonna change anything, so it will actually do the same thing. So I'm typing my keyboard, but it's doing
Yeah.
nothing. So in order to make one variable reactive, what you have to do is you have to bring something called use state from your React uh, repository. So it's normally declared like this. So use state, and if you click enter, then as you can see, it imported use state from React.
Yeah.
So you have to call this method, and then you have to in this bracket. I mean, what you are doing is you are actually uh, getting back the values from this function and you would want to have it using two variables. So one should be
Yeah.
like name and another should be set name, like this. So this is the common convention, that first one
Yeah.
is the actual variable and the second one is, your meeting will end in 10 minutes. Upgrade now. Okay, so we have 10 minutes time now, then we'll have to call again. Okay,
Okay.
so set name is the function that you will use to override this name. You understand?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
will,
Yes.
yeah, so now we will get rid of the other name variable and we will give it a default value. So the value you can pass here in this bracket and it will become the default value of this name. So the initial value of this name, So if I call it like Rana now, then we have here Rana and Rana.
Yes.
And how we got this? We got this because we have given it an initial value. So we will
Yes.
get rid of this initial value. We will keep it empty string. And as you can see, now it's empty. But we still cannot write anything here because we cannot directly update this name. We have to go through this set name function in order to
Yes.
update this name. So what we
Yes.
will do, that we will, when we call update name, at that time we will say set name, and in bracket we will say e dot target dot value. So e dot target dot value is the value which we are inputting in our input field.
Yes.
So now set name is going to update this name property with this value.
Sure.
Okay, so this is how you make one variable reactive in React. So if you declare something like this const age, then this is not reactive anymore. So it's not gonna update based on the other scenarios in your website, based on the
Yes.
state of your website. But this is gonna update every time you make any changes related to this variable in anywhere in the website, that will trigger the re-render of the website.
Yeah.
So now we can write here like Rana, and as you can see
Yeah.
that it's dynamically updating the value.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So this is how you actually make your variables reactive, and you use reactive data in React. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the things that I have shared with you so far are the absolute necessary things that you must know if you want to use React. And after
Yeah.
that, you can actually extend it to beyond limit. So
Okay.
yeah, so you can go sky high with your knowledge, with your React knowledge. But these are the things that you must know in order to create a page. So now what we are going to do is we are going to bring that index page from here and we will render in our React project. Okay.
Sure.
That way, yeah, that way you will have some good grasp of your React knowledge. And I think we will have to do a few more classes in
I
future
understand.
in order to understand it better. So we will actually copy everything in this file and we will go back to our another project. So this is our index.js file, and in this div we are going to remove everything and we are going to paste our long file. As you can see, immediately it's yielding at us because of some things. The first thing is we are going to remove this HTML and body tag from here, and we have to do the same at the beginning.
Header.
So we will remove the and HTML and this doc type, this body from here. We have the head element, and as you can see that we have quite a few CSS files and quite a few JavaScript files that we need to connect now
Yes.
to our project. So we are going to do it now. So first thing is we will have to have the files in our project, and we can see that they are under CSS folder and leaf folder. We can see like that.
Yes.
And if we go at the bottom, then we also have some JavaScript files, and those are in the leaf folder and JS folder. So we'll go back to our folder where this project lives, and we will copy this JS, CSS, and lib and img, the images.
Yeah.
And also the SCSS. I'm not sure if it will be required or not, but let's copy it for the moment. And to be in safe side, then go to local fresh food, our fresh food project. And as you know, that public folder is the folder where we want to keep it, because that will be exposed to the internet, right?
Yeah.
So we will keep everything in the public folder like this.
Some of the cloned next cloned files I saw,
Yeah.
they put it in assets. They created an
Yeah,
assets folder.
but in our case, in our special case, we are not going to do this, because we
Okay.
want to, we already have the code written here. Like in
Okay.
main.js we have the code, in
Yeah.
css we have the code. We want to use them ready made. That's why we will
Okay.
link them. Yeah, we will
Okay.
link them in our project. In but if we want to use it in keeping in assets folder, then we have to import them, and we don't want to
Okay.
take that hassle for the moment.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we will do it in another class. We'll try to do that in another class, because that will be an experiment. So how we can actually add some JavaScript files and CSS file. You know that in Next project we normally we did it using the Next config.js, where we
Yes.
created an array of script and the
Yes.
array of CSS files. So we
Yes.
have something similar in Next, and we have to find it. So next, allow me 1 second, please.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Next.
I thought we got
Okay.
disconnected.
Yeah, no. So that's the thing I was looking for. So you know that these CSS files and these JS files, we want to make it available for all the pages, right?
Yes.
Not only this index page.
Yes.
So the perfect place where we should do it is the app.js file, because this is the file which is actually included in all the pages, So
Yes.
everything we are writing in about.js and index.js, they are actually getting rendered here. So
Yes.
if somehow we can include our things here in this file, that's gonna let us include those things in all the pages that we have in our project, right?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, so what we will do is that we will actually bring a div here, so that we can add more things in our project. And as you know that we will have to use this bracket, because
Bracket.
we have
Yes.
make it multi-line like this.
Yes.
And now we can add something called this, which is uh, head component, and it's provided by Next. So you have to import something which is called head from Next head. And this is actually when you install this project, at that time this package was automatically got installed.
Yes.
Okay, so you don't have to install it additionally, so it's already available there. So you just have to import head from here, and then you can use this head component in your project.
Right.
So now, yeah, Now you can actually include your styles here. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab all the scripts from here. I think that's the last script.